Well, it's been over a month now, which is incredible. And we've recently done a little survey of how people were doing, and the overwhelming majority is doing well or very well, which a month ago we probably didn't expect. So I think we're quite an adaptable lot, I would say, and we were technically very capable because we had recently invested in much more technology, much more powerful laptops, etc. So we were lucky in that respect, and that has helped us adapt. And I think as we settle into this new way of working for a little bit longer and possibly a lot longer, we are now thinking of the next phase and making sure that we are very in tune with what the teams are doing, what they're telling us they need technically or organizationally, and just trying to be as open-minded as possible. I think that's really the key.
I'd echo Aino's sentiments. I think we've all adapted to working from home far better than I think we'd ever considered. And I think the resilience shown by our teams has been great. I think our IT department have never been busier. But I think there has been a kind of a collective mentality to try and make this work. And despite the ups and downs, that's been very helpful to everybody, given this unprecedented event.
I think the thing that it's emphasised to me is how somewhat abnormal and unusual our day-to-day lives usually are. Now we're in a very repetitive day-to-day nature of working, and I think it's something that we've all taken a little bit of it's taken a little bit of work to get used to that.
I would say that the leadership of Winch Design has been extraordinarily strong at this point, especially from Aino understanding and looking at what needs to be done, but also Jim and Simon run the studios, and they're the ones who have found that they need to follow their jobs, lead their teams, communicate a lot more with everybody than I have to. I probably am more finding it that I'm more outside, but also looking at options and opportunities. So I've probably got more headspace than they do. I don't have the young children at home that Aino and Simon have. So, but I think it's been an extraordinary adventure actually for Winch, the 4 weeks. It's something we've never had to do before, and I think it's been very successful.
Well, we're keeping in touch with our clients by just trying to foster the same kind of connectivity that we do in the studio and in the virtual studio as we are now. So we're reaching out where we're trying to support our clients in the best way that we can. And I think the best way that we can is really through enthusiasm and just letting them know that we're here and we're creating. The creativity doesn't stop, and we continue to a situation where we can come together and we can dream about the ideas and the aspirations again. And we're trying to motivate our clients in that way.
It's important to keep in touch with clients all the time, and something that I was poor at, I think, and I've been given more time during this work at home period. Writing letters, making phone calls to clients is something that has taken up a lot of my time to support Aino, Jim and Simon. And what's great is actually the feedback we've already got. I mean, I wrote to a client that I haven't spoken to for 4 years, and I sent it yesterday, and I got an email back today, which was copious amounts of exciting stuff that he's been doing and other smaller boats he's built. And just the enthusiasm he had for reconnecting with Winch was very rewarding and very, made me very happy. It's just been great to keep in touch by writing emails.
As for whether we've seen a change in client behavior, I haven't seen a paradigm shift in the way we're communicating with our clients. I think, if anything, we've been very fortunate to receive great reassurance from our clients. Certainly, there's been a window for us to communicate much more directly with them via telephone and email, and that's been reassuring to us as a business to know that projects are still going ahead. One shift we have seen, though, is moving beyond just using video conference facilities and software for talking to our teams and to people outside the business. But also a lot of our clients are showing a real readiness and willingness to have us present concept and detailed design packages of work to them using platforms such as Zoom. It's been a tremendous learning curve for us the last 4 weeks, but we've had the benefit of very patient clients, and it's actually been quite productive and quite fruitful to still have that interaction with them, even if it's not being in the same room. I think the question about whether this is temporary or not is probably an easier one to define, in that, you know, at some point we hope some form of normal service will resume. However, the timing of that is less certain. What has been welcomed by myself and my colleagues is there has been no need to travel, and that's been a huge win. It certainly has helped us devote more time to the actual creation of the projects and the production of the work, and you know, from that point of view, one hopes that video presentations will become a bigger part of our future working practices. As for whether we've seen a change in the way clients react to our interactions and to the relationship they have with Winch, I'd say not noticeably, from the point of view that we always base the success of our projects on very close and personal relationships with the clients with whom we work. Obviously, privacy is a vital component of that relationship. But if anything, I think are in a brief moment in time where everybody's being more human with one another. Everybody's being a lot more caring, a lot more thoughtful, and willing to give more of their time to people they enjoy talking to. We always say at Winch that we want presentations to be the best part of a client's day or their week. And I think having that continual one-to-one interaction with our clients is really helping us stay positive and really helping us create great work. I think from my point of view, one of the new working initiatives that I found a bit of a game changer for my day and week has been that, as much as I love working in a busy, lively, open plan studio, it's been refreshing to have an opportunity to find some clear space, working remotely for some deeper thinking, some more strategic tasks. That's certainly an activity that I'm going to look to embrace and to build into my weekly approach to the business in the future. Of course, there's the day-to-day business fundamentals one needs to look after, and we always have to be mindful of those. But finding the time for clear thinking space, I have to say, is an initiative that I'll definitely take forward.
That and barbecues, right, Simon?
Barbecues, absolutely. There's something strangely cathartic about making a fire that I find very relaxing.
I
encourage everybody to try it. Not only are the kids happy when you bring the food to the table, but it gives you some time alone to think.
I think certainly the initiatives that everybody has embraced on the technological front will help us to just reconsider our general approach to travel in the future, and we will probably learn to be a little bit more rational about it. I don't think things will swing far too much away from the previous norm as some of the commentators are thinking, because I think we're probably all conditioned to the benefits that that brings. And at the end of the day, there's no real substitute for pressing the flesh and for meeting people face to face. And certainly our business is one about human interaction, and it's about relationships and developing those. And to do that, you really need to be in close contact with people. So I think that's the biggest thing that's affecting us at the moment. But certainly there's some lessons and some opportunities that we'll take forward.
Where do we go, and what will we take forward to the future after we can travel and we can go to the office again? For me, I think for all of us, the new future will be a new challenge itself, to reassert itself and try and understand how to get in a car and travel. I spend an hour each day going backwards and forwards, so 2 hours of my life have been gained to either be able to go and be a bicycle or to walk around up and down the lanes outside. So I think that exercise period is something that we were building very well with the Winch Cycle Club and walking on the towpath and clearing up. I think that will be something we will give more time to within the life of Winch. I think we all need to have that headspace of exercise. But I do miss, and I hope that we can pick it up again, was something we were doing successfully before this, was Simon and Jim and myself actually traveling together. I miss the opportunity, and I look forward to that chance to take time and actually travel, not just for one opportunity, but to see 3 or 4 things, to spend a couple of days together traveling to one country or another country, to see clients who we don't specifically have a project with, but to actually meet them. And I reinforce what Jim's been saying, and Simon, is that we are a company that connect, and we are managing to do that very well by Zoom and video, extraordinarily well. But we will be doing it 50-50, I think, by doing some traveling, but giving more time when we go there. So we're not just rushing in and rushing out.
I think in terms of new working initiatives, I think one thing that I'm seeing a lot more as a studio leader is that this decentralization of the design process into team-based pockets is really encouraging, and it's affording lots of the more mid-level and junior level designers and other people within the teams to show a lot more self-initiative, to work remotely and to really create great work, and then to share it with their peers in a team-based environment. Whilst we do replicate that in the studio on a day-to-day basis, I'm seeing that, if anything, there's a lot more ownership of not only the work people are doing in isolation, but also much more of a participation, actually bringing it and sharing it with their teams. And that's allowing me and might be allowing Aino and Jim a lot more time to focus on other matters. So that's been a very encouraging sign, just seeing the teams themselves really enjoy the space they're being given to push projects forward.
Yeah, I'll just add that I think that the circumstances have, forced us into this position of having to connect, having to really consciously make an extra effort to do the Zoom call, do the phone call, whatever it is, to connect with our colleagues. And I think simply by doing that, that's brought about a real team spirit, real camaraderie in the studio. And you can see that when you have a bunch of the team on a Zoom call and everybody jumps onto it, and immediately you see beaming faces, and I think it's just testament to everybody wanting to work together, wanting to make the situation work together, and it really does bring about that fantastic team spirit.
And it's also helping the client teams and the yards and the brokers, because how many times have we actually phoned people as we do today without having anything to say to them, just to say, hi, we're here, how are you? We haven't done as much of that, I think, as we, in a year as we did last month, which has been really lovely.
regards to pitching to clients, and if so, how are we doing it? We very much are, and it's a real focus of mine the last 5 weeks, following up the right business opportunities with many of our very supportive clients whom we've known for some time, as well as new clients and new teams that we're being introduced to, and making sure that they enjoy the pitching process with us. Many of our clients are thinking about the future whilst grappling with very, very real day-to-day business challenges. And they're also thinking about how the goals and aspirations that they have for their projects are going to need to adapt. So that's leading to a lot of really, really interesting conversations. One of the kind of best examples I could cite of what we've been doing with regards to pitching the last 4 weeks is, amidst this momentary pause in worldwide business, we've had a look at our pitching document itself, and we've done a full revamp of the document, how it looks, how it reads, making sure it still contains all that clear, crisp, and accurate information that it needs to, but that it also conveys a better experience to the reader who's receiving the document by giving it more of a creative slant, more of a design edge. So that's been a very enjoyable process the last 4 or 5 weeks. And the final point I want to make with regards to pitching to prospective clients, and if we are, how are we doing it, is that we've had some recent success a month ago in signing a new private apartment project, and we're obviously working very diligently on that and developing great new initial concept design work ideas that we're sharing with the clients via video presentation. Beyond that, there are a number of other leads that we've been pursuing for some time that we're also putting a lot of day-to-day effort into. And if all the stars align, we're hopeful that those will start May, June time onwards.
No, I would just say, in terms of timing, now is a really good time for creative people to do great concept work. And
Absolutely.
a lot of our clients are seeing that, and they think, that is actually a phase where, as Simon was saying earlier, you have some quiet time, you have some space, we're all taking a slightly different perspective on things, and great work is coming out of the teams feeling empowered to do it. So it is a very creative time and a great time to start a project.
Yeah,
I think Aino touched on a very good point, that in this momentary pause, those with the ability and the bandwidth to look ahead, it's the perfect time to be looking at new sites, to be looking at available slots in shipyards, potential capacity in completion centers, and whether it's a longer term refit, a new build, or even just a refurbishment feasibility study. It's a great way to make the best use of this time. So when things do return to normal, one can hit the ground running.
So in terms of whether any of our current projects have been cancelled or delayed, we are actually in a very fortunate position that none of our clients have chosen to cancel or suspend any of their projects. They were all still going ahead, some with some operational constraints linked to lockdown in different countries. Some of our construction sites, Simon could talk about, have had to slow down or pause altogether. But there's light at the end of the tunnel, and they're finding ways, with incredible resilience and creativity, they are finding ways to restart those construction sites. So being realistic, I think that we will see some delays to some projects, but the important thing is that the clients are still committed to them, and they are still moving forward towards full delivery of the project, and supporting the economy and supporting the many, many jobs that hang on the line with our various industry partners.
Yes, are any of our projects experiencing delays? Well, inevitably there is some slowdown, but that is, I'd say, most often linked just to logistical and physicality issues. Really, in the past, in the normal run of things, you might have expected to have a dozen people crawling through the staircase of a super yacht project during outfitting. With everybody's respective social distancing on site and during installation, that simply can't happen. You've got to reduce that to maybe 3 or 4 people. So that just in itself affects some slowdown and what simply can be achieved in the time. But I'm hoping that that will start to come back to the normal circumstance quite soon. We're already seeing that the German shipyards are beginning to ease up and relax these restrictions somewhat. Same in Holland. I'm also reading in about the United States shipyards also starting to reverse that as well. So I think it won't be too long before we get back to a rather normal situation. Yes, the cancellation of shows and events is obviously something that we thought about quite early on in this in these circumstances. There's already a groundswell of virtual events, virtual yacht shows, and other events. And I think we're all harnessing that as much as we can. Andrew did a narration over a film on board one of the yachts, which is currently for sale, one of our previous completions, which is now on the market. So we're finding ways in which we can replicate that sales activity and events activity and connect with our clients and connect with the brokers. And I think we'll have to continue to be really agile in our thinking about how we do that, how we can online be interactive, allow a community to be interactive with the content, and yeah, to interact as we would normally do face to face. So there's certainly lots of challenges ahead, and still lots of thinking, I think, to do to be able to replicate, what is often billions of dollars worth of events throughout the year. If we think about things like Monaco Boat Show and everything that entails and the effectiveness of it, of the whole community coming together in 1 week, that's quite a tall order and a challenge to replicate without having the physical opportunity to do so. So I still think there's a lot of thinking to do there.
Could I add something? I think the real challenge that we have with the shows and events being cancelled is really making sure that we have the ability to continue to foster new relationships. And meeting new people is obviously something that is easier to do in person and building that relationship. And that's why, when we're running around the Monaco Yacht Show, meeting people, often for a very short period of time, but trying to squeeze everything into those 3 days, then we do have that chance. Thankfully, a lot of our relationships at Winch Design are long-standing friendships that Andrew has had over 30 years, and Jim and Simon and the team. So we really appreciate the opportunity. As a silver lining, if these shows are cancelled, we just have that little bit more time to connect with them one-to-one and not rush around, and really check in and see how they're doing.
Well, I think this period has brought the departments together. I think, again, it's given us that window of opportunity that nobody was anticipating. So it's given us that opportunity to really turbocharge some of the initiatives, the conversations, the ideas that we were always hoping to get off the ground and maybe simply didn't quite reach, and now we're able to do that. So Currently we're spending a lot of time and effort putting our thinking into the sustainability conversation and the ideas around that, and bringing the conversations together across the departments, sharing our ideas, sharing the intelligence. And I think our teams are really relishing in that, and indulging in having that to focus on. And that's really bringing the Winch community together again.
I thought it was, sorry, I'm jumping in, but I thought it was amazing that some of our employees offered online training to others. I was actually thinking of signing up myself, but ran out of time. But I think it's great that we're all teaching each other other skills and using this time to do so, which has been fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely. Tom has been doing online Photoshop training with various other people in the Yachts Aviation team, and recording it on screen. So not only have one or two people benefited from the session, but we're able to capture that, and other people can use it in the future. It's fantastic.
Great. It's not too late for me then.
No.
We haven't changed our marketing strategy based on the current situation. I think what we stand for and the message that we want to put out there is still the same. I think that we've had to adapt to the circumstances, in that we're obviously not spending as much effort on face-to-face meetings, events, shows. So a lot of our marketing was sort of real world oriented, and now we're refocusing those efforts online, which is quite obvious. We've started a new YouTube channel, which I hope you subscribe to. I think you're supposed to point up or down. I think that's what YouTube channelers do. That's what I see in my kids who are following lots of YouTube stars. So I think some great initiatives have come out of this, and the marketing team have done a fantastic job also of looking after us internally. We were talking about this World of Winch newsletter. That takes effort, but it's so important to also look after your internal communications as much as your external communications. So I think now more than ever is a really essential time to be making sure that you focus on the bigger picture, and that you keep your messaging strong and you keep your marketing strong. I would say this to any business, but to our studio in particular. We want to make sure that people know who we are, what we stand for, what we're doing, and how we can be there for them.
I think the marketing side of Winch Design has grown stronger and stronger, to the benefit of Simon and Jim, and definitely to the benefit of the group and all of us. It's important to remember, as we're in this area where we are now, that this is a world situation, and that we're not going to one boat show in one country, but we are selling our services, selling our creativity internationally all over the world.
Well, my thoughts on long-term effects regarding this pandemic and the circumstances we've all had to grapple with are varied. I think, on a practical level, one at the moment can't help but read about what our physical environment is going to be like when we're able to socialize once again, and I think being distanced and separated from others, even in quite confined spaces, is probably going to take some adjustment. So maybe too early to tell how we're all going to react to that. I think we'll continue to see a lot of creativity from manufacturers and from people who build things. From the architecture perspective, I think we'll see some pretty novel and creative solutions to the way in which large groups of people are shifted around and organized, so they can still do their various elements of work. I think two things that I hope we really do hold on to as a long-term effect are, A, that we continue to prioritize the personal and the human over a one-size-fits-all approach. I think it'd be a shame to lose all of this intimacy that we've had to fall back on over the last 4 or 5 weeks. And then I think the second thing, or more so the second long-term effect I'd like to see is that no matter the continual news cycle or the media noise, that we all find our own personal journey navigating through that and come out the other side still being able to think clearly and critically for ourselves.
I think that if you were to answer the question, where will anything be in 5 years' time, anyone pretending to know is probably bluffing. I think that the time of 3 or 5 year plans has gone, for now at least. I think that what we do need to do, however, is to make sure that we're in the present moment, that we're doing the right thing today. Because I think that what we're seeing in the news is that everyone is watching, every business out there, everyone is expected to act responsibly and do the decent thing. And I think that's really important in the business community and amongst each other. So I think that is important. And then in terms of looking to the future, it's really about anticipating what Simon was saying, is how is this going to change the world durably? How's it going to change client behaviors and design and the way people live? And if we're doing that, then we will come out of this, all of us, stronger. And I think our studio in particular has this creativity, which means that, and creativity is really it's the magic dust, isn't it? So we really have the ability to come out of this stronger, having learned a hell of a lot of things about working remotely, working differently, collaborating, coming up with new ideas, and really digging deep and coming out of it in a few months' time, hopefully, and maybe a little longer, much stronger, and with stronger relationships actually with our clients. And I think we'll all enjoy it more once we've come out of it. We won't take everything for granted as we used to.
What will the next 5 years bring for Winch Design? Supporting what Aino has said, I would say that Winch Design's core structure, core focus, and core benefit is that we design life, and we are lifestyle designers, and we think about space, and we think about colors, and we think about everything down to food as part of the service we produce. We are producing a lifestyle, whether you fly, whether you're at home in one of your places around the world, whether you're in Mustique or you're in New York, or whether you're on your yacht. That has been the culture of our business for 30 years. The next 5 years is going to increase that, I believe, for Winch Design. We are going to find not only are we creative enough to be able to find solutions for clients, but clients are going to be looking for private space. I believe our clients, and I hope they do, I really hope that they find the way and look for quality of life, which we like to deliver, spatial life, which we like to deliver, places to be private with security and safety, and to go to places where they're going to really enjoy the future 5 years. To dream big is what our clients we do, and we want to encourage them to do that in all 3 of our sectors of work, to dream big and go there with Winch.